Oakland, the other city by the bay. For years, the port city of Oakland sought its own identity in the shadow of its nationally known bigger brother, San Francisco. In 1968, when Kansas City Athletics owner Charlie Finley moved his team to the newly constructed Oakland Coliseum Stadium, he too was looking for a fresh start. From the first game, with the passionate support of the East Bay locals, the Oakland Athletics soon found a strong, unique bond on and off the field with their new fans.
When you are a fan of a team and when you have this love for baseball or for a sport, it's something that's inseparable and it's something that's part of you.
People that aren't from the Bay Area don't really understand that the East Bay is kind of its own distinct thing. So being an A's fan is kind of like, hey, like we're not the big, flashy, fabulous, internationally known city, but we have something of our own.
It was very easy for me to build a fandom off of the A's. The culture is amazing. When you go to the games, you feel like you're part of something. Ever since I was a kid, everybody wanted you there. Everybody wanted to be part of it and part of this team.
Like the working port and the working class, our baseball team was kind of always the new kid on the come up. And I think that's been a lot about our city, as we always have hope in the future.
The A's had a promotion or a slogan that was green collar. And I thought that fit Oakland fans really well because I felt like we're more like kind of a blue collar crowd, a working class, the East Bay, Oakland working class. And before games, I would go to the parking lot and I would just meet people who I don't know and say, hey guys, and we'd start talking about the game. But that day, it'd become your best friend from all walks, just as the sense of family that I'd never experienced with other sporting events.
How do you explain that culture? You can't, because you've never seen this in baseball. Fans did that.
It's like Field of Dreams. It's that thing that they talk about. It's ingrained in our culture. It's ingrained in our lives.
There's probably about 8 of us that are all in the 106, 105 section behind the visitors bullpen. And that's where we met. And so now we're all family. We have Christmas parties every year.
There was always drums and horns and bands and chants. They're very unique and you don't really see them too much in other stadiums.
Baseball was my favorite sport. I was a baseball player. It was fantastic. I was hooked. They've been over 500 since they came here in 1968. 4 World Series championships, 17 Western Division championships, and that was my heroes were the Oakland A's. My name's Steve Watkin, and I've been an A's fan since 1968, the first season that they were started in Oakland. I was only 7, so I became a fan right away. And that first season, they had Tony La Russa was a player on that team, and Joe DiMaggio was one of the coaches, so interesting players on that team, even though it wasn't that good the first year.
How old are you about?
I'm about 2 years old in that picture, just probably two years and 2 months. It was Christmas Day in 1956. My dad was in the Navy, and that's what brought us to the Bay Area. I mean, he would hit me fly balls when I was a little kid until
I couldn't stand up, and I would drag all my gear home. I mean, I know it's kind of cliche-ish, but I mean, it's true in my case. And then we started going to baseball games, and that's where the real love for the green and gold developed in both of us. My name is Joe Wolfkill, and I've been an A's fan since 1968, with my father taking me to my first game at the Coliseum. Really highlight my memories of my association with the A's and my association with my dad, and how he brought me into the baseball world and the world of the Oakland A's. He actually was my first coach, taught me about baseball, showed me how to throw a curveball. Unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, I can't throw from here to there now, but it's one of the last few things that I have of him. He'd had a massive heart attack at Oakland Naval Hospital in 1971. I think about all the things that he would have been right with me. He would have been sitting with me. He would have been at all these things that I've been at. He would have been fortunate enough to be at all the games that I was at, because I'm sure I would have dragged him along.
I went to opening day every single year. And even when I got married and when we had kids, the kids knew we were going to be going to opening day. First going to games in 1968, been a fan for all 56 years. The A's have been everything to me. The A's winning the 3 straight in the 70s, that was really a watershed mark for A's fans. The early 70s really shaped my baseball fandom. I remember going to the Walnut Festival, put the ping pong ball into the goldfish thing, and I won 9, and I had them each named after the A's, Reggie and Campy and Sal. And each of the goldfish had an A's name.
Well, what they did in that early part of the 70s was unprecedented in sports and in baseball for sure. The A's were putting themselves on the map in terms of national recognition, and they were doing it with guys that wore mustaches, they had long hair, that they weren't necessarily superstars. The swinging A's meant they not only swung the bats, they swung their fists a couple of times, and they were known for having clubhouse brawls, but anything could have happened.
From the early 70s team, Reggie Jackson was my favorite player. He was left-handed and was superstar.
Vida Blue was one of my favorites. I was a left-hander too, just like him. Catfish Hunter, I saw Catfish pitch.
Catfish Hunter was the best pitcher, and he was number 27, and I was born on the 27th.
I can remember listening to the 72 series with a transistor radio in my ear in high school, in my class, and giving all my student friends updates on scores and what the inning was and who was pitching. And I remember I went to the 73 World Series and sat in the right field bleachers and hoped Reggie Jackson might hit us a batting practice ball or home run ball. Downtown area usually was the place where the celebrations were held and the parade was held, and I probably made all 3 of them for the 72, 3, and 4 series, so that was pretty funny. And most of them were held in Jack London Square, and there's an Amtrak line that goes through there. There was a freight train that was going through. There were people, A's fans, on top of the train as it went through the intersection. And I don't know how they got there, how they got off the train, but they had A's banners and they had A's flags and wearing A's gear, so it was incredible.
The A's ownership has been very interesting, to say the least, over the years. When Charlie Finley brought them here in 1968, he was notoriously cheap, and he lost a lot of the players.
And there were a lot of people that said after the fact that if the owner, Charles Finley, hadn't broken up the team, they might have won 3 or 4 more consecutive series.
That was, the first 15 years or so of the A's, and then it was sold to the Walter Haas and the Haas family, and he was a great owner. He had fantastic teams in the late 80s, early 90s.
Haas family, when they owned the team, they were really big in the community. I remember the A's had a contest with our school and encouraged kids to read. And I read a lot of book reports. I got to meet Reggie Jackson in 87, and they sent this letter to me. This is like May 8th, 1987. And they put my name, little Anthony, at that time I was little, and they put my name on the scoreboard. This was me, man. I was part of this A's. And I cannot express to you the pride and the motivation to read. I was reading like crazy. Like, oh, the A's want me to read? I'm gonna read. And for me, as a kid, oh my God, this was like my validation. So I to this day, I still feel a warmth of it. It may seem small to other people, but for me, I just would cherish it forever. My name is Anthony, and I've been an A's fan since the early 80s. The A's players, the teams had that Oakland swagger, this confidence. Everyone was down on our ballpark or the organization, but it was like us versus everybody. And that's kind of like the Oakland feeling. It get a lot of bad press. The media doesn't always have good things to say about Oakland, but for us who live there, this is our home. And though we feel we should be proud of it. And I think that transpired over to the players and the team.
You were part of it. You as a fan, they wanted you there. They wanted you to feel part of it. Pride. You felt the intenseness of Stu and the power and strength of the Bash Brothers.
And then, the crack of the bat, the sounds that you would hear off the PA system. Growing up in the 80s, like you couldn't go anywhere in the Bay Area and not see Oakland A's merchandise, marketing, branding, logos and stuff.
And that's when Tony La Russa had become the manager, and this young guy named Canseco, who no one knew about, but my buddy was telling me, this guy's gonna be something. Getting these guys, McGuire, and they signed Dave Stewart.
You could see things starting to come together, even from the remnants left over from the real early 80s when Haas took over and stuff like that.
But then they started to make these moves, and they traded for Bob Welch in 88. You just knew, like, oh, wait, we're about to get good. We're about to get real good,
I remember when Ricky Henderson came back. So Ricky Henderson was a rookie with the A's, just the god of steals, like just unbelievable. 140 steals a season, which is ridiculous. And then he came back, and I was just so excited because we had Seiko, we had Weiss, we had McGuire, we had Dave Henderson, we had Dave Parker, and now we have Ricky Henderson. We were stacked.
Those were the superstars. Those were the guys that were doing stuff, and they were on my team, and we were winning.
In 1989, the big game, the A's against the Giants, the Bay Area World Series, the pinnacle of A's baseball fandom. Really good friend of mine won a contest. He got free tickets to an A's game, and he got to participate in an egg toss competition. He picked me as his partner. My friend was a manager, a produce manager at Petrini's, so he got free access to outdated eggs. And we used to practice, and we practiced, and the winner of that got free airfare and hotel accommodations to the World Series, and we ended up winning that. There was all kinds of articles in the paper. We're in the Chronicle, the LA Times, USA Today, and the A's stepped up, picking us up in a limousine, driving us to the San Francisco airport since they'd promised airfare. So they put us on a little puddle jumper and flew us over to the Oakland airport and then took us to the A's game. They gave us tickets in the second row, right behind the Giants dugout. So the only person between me and the field was the Giants manager's wife, Caroline. And she got an earful from an A's fan behind her. But the second day when we came back, Carolyn Craig turns around and says, "Oh, not you guys again."
I've been to 2 World Series games, even though I've only been to 1 game, because that game got canceled.
After the second game, again, we had 1 TV in our house at that time. My sisters wanted to watch the Brady Bunch, and I was like, no way, we're watching the game. And we're fighting over that. And I remember we were on the top floor of an apartment building, and the earthquake started.
And I remember being in Candlestick Park, in the last row of Candlestick Park, and everyone was cheering, "Go Giants!" Stomping their feet. This is like, half hour before the game was going to start. Stomping their feet, stomping their feet, stomping their feet.
I was with one of my college roommates, and we were coming from work, and we didn't have a full tank of gas. We were kind of low, and we said, well, we'll just get gas after the game. We got to the game a little before 5. We were walking through the parking lot when the earthquake hit.
It was so scary, and we were just shaking. I thought it was the end of the world.
And I look up, and this awning was doing this, and this big concrete awning. And I thought, I'm gonna die right here. This is my last day on Earth. I'm dead. There's just no way that's gonna hold.
The parking lot was waving, and cars were shaking, and car alarms were going off, and we didn't know what was going on.
And then everything stopped. And everyone started cheering, and we thought the game was gonna go on. And we were just waiting for the game to start, And I remember I looked down, and I saw a little black and white TV with the Bay Bridge collapsed.
My friend had brought a TV with him. We had a little portable TV. So we sat down to see all the newscast with the Bay Bridge collapse and the freeway collapse and the fire in San Francisco. And suddenly there was like 1,000 people behind us watching over our shoulders, the little TV.
I saw Jose Canseco in the parking lot still in uniform. I saw Gary Steinbach in the parking lot still in uniform. I thought that was so cool. You know, as this 13-year-old kid, a little scared, a little confused.
It took like 2 hours just to get out of the parking lot because San Francisco was just a mess and there was no place for the cars to go that were leaving. And then we went to go get gas in the morning, and there was a 2-block line just to get gas. It was crazy times.
We actually won the World Series that year, and that was a satisfying moment, not just because we won, but because we won against the crosstown rivals, the Giants. That was a very sweet moment, very sweet moment. Yeah.
Developed some really amazing friendships, almost like extended family, right? With a lot of the people I met. Like I saw this one guy, I was on Instagram one day and I seen this setup and I was like, wow. Like when you die and they say what it looks like when you show up to heaven and the pearly gates, that's what I saw.
My name is Rob Roberts. I've been an A's fan pretty much my whole life, from basically the early 80s on to now. This is a Ricky Henderson 1990, his MVP year, his helmet. Last year was a pretty big year. I got a set of Mark McGwire cleats. You'll see these on a lot of baseball cards and stuff like that. Canseco, I made this, it's a bash arm. He's holding the game-used Canseco bat, and that's a 4-foot Canseco that I had made, and I was gonna build the McGwire one to go with it, and maybe at some point we'll do that. But it's supposed to be a Bash Brother type one. Everything in here pretty much has a story. It's not like I just go out and buy this stuff just to buy it. Everything has some sort of a story to it. I was there for a lot of these moments and part of this type of history and stuff, and so this is my connection to it. And these things now worth, you know, miniature fortunes or whatever else, but I didn't buy it or acquire it through just for that type of purpose. I just wanted to be part of something. So the bobblehead thing kind of it flared up and became something when I had kids and thought, oh, my kids are gonna love it. Well, I'm the kid. I'm the one that loves it still today. And so they kind of roll with me and I collect it and this and that. But what bobbleheads in particular has done for me is we work with different player organizations, player groups. I build bobbleheads for like Dave Henderson's Engelman Syndrome Foundation. Mike Norris, working with him, raised money for his youth league in Oakland, the inner cities of Oakland. And so I worked with different players and stuff to build these things. We did Fans Fest. We raised thousands of dollars. We built 18-inch, 20-inch bobbleheads that we sell off at the auction thing. And so it becomes more than just me and a bobblehead or me and trying to meet these type of guys. It's a common thing. We're working together to trying to build something together.
I had a really good coach in high school, and he always said, if you're good to baseball, baseball will be good to you. And I always loved the game, and in loving the game, it's loved me back. When I grew up, they would let you in 3 hours on the dot, and I would be one of those kids who'd be in line, and I would just run down. I'd have all my pins out, and all my balls, and all my hats, and all my baseball cards, and I'd lay them out. I would scream out, Mr. McGwire, until you come over and sign my ball. And it was the happiest day of my life. And basically from the 3 hours before the game to the game ending was about 7 hours of just pure paradise for a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old. And I could not get enough of it. It's me, that's my little brother. You saw him earlier. He was here, he's taller now. There's Mark asking me for my ball or for a pen. Jose Canseco. And Ricky. And then there's Ricky. Yeah, and that's me. My name is Chahil Nelson. I was born in Vallejo, California. I've been an A's fan since probably '85, so I kind of grew up right when they were getting really good. My first baseball I ever got was a double that Ricky Henderson missed. And I remember I was probably 11 in the bleachers, and I caught it. And he looked up at me, and we kind of exchanged eyes for a second. And it was the most magical moment of my life, you know, just locking eyes with Ricky Henderson on this ground rule double that I snagged and he missed. You know, I worked in Major League Baseball. I worked for the San Diego Padres for 4 years. Being behind the scenes of baseball, it's a business, and that's the first thing you learn is that this is a business, you know, and it's not as magical when it's a business.
Yeah, it was a confusing time for me because that's when I first started learning, you know, the A's offloading players. You know, there was the trade with Canseco, like literally happened mid-game, and he's like basically walked off the field and he's traded. And that's the Bash brothers, man. It's like all of a sudden one of the brothers is gone.
I actually cried hot tears down my face. And my mom was like, "What's wrong? They traded Canseco. He was my guy."
Us A's fans have always considered ourselves to be like baseball's bastard children, the unwanted stepchild. But we had grit and we had guts, and we took being underestimated to our advantage. And to a large degree, that's how Oakland is in regards to San Francisco and San Jose. And I immediately found that the Oakland Coliseum was not just a baseball park, it was a community event center. It was literally where Oakland came to party. And whether it was the baseball games or the football games or the epic Day on the Green concerts, that Oakland Coliseum, that was a vibrant spot. That was a town heartbeat.
The Oakland Coliseum was a good baseball stadium and an okay football stadium. And really, you know, you could trace everything that's happening right now back to that decision to alter the stadium. We didn't know it then, but the Raiders coming back really kind of was one of the first dominoes that would start us down this road of where we are today.
In the morning.
The stadium is dated and stuff. We know that. But for us, this is our home. I didn't care if they played in your backyard. If it was in Oakland, I was going to support them and show up.
Yeah, the Coliseum is something. It means something to every A's fan. In my opinion, it does. It means something very much to me and to my family. I go there and I'm comfortable. I know it. I know everything that's there. I know what to expect. I get it. It's not world class. I've been to other stadiums. I get it. I know that.
There's no bells. There's no whistles. It's concrete and then a baseball field. You can feel the energy off the field, the players, the moments, all of that. The fans sitting around, that's what makes it the atmosphere in the Coliseum. It's super special. And it's like a dive bar. There's a certain charm, there's a certain level of comfortability you feel.
Thinking about how it works at the Coliseum, the drums, the banjo man, the loud chanting, there's really nothing like it.
When they had the old ice plant and you could see the hills of Oakland behind there, it was a beautiful stadium.
The original design of it was classic. I mean, you had a beautiful view of the Oakland Hills.
Well, we would walk in through the Dennis Eckersley gate, they call it now, but D gate, through the concourse openings, and you see all the Oakland Hills. You see all the Coca-Cola, the Safeway sign. You see all of that. This is great. You know, they say Disneyland's the happiest place on earth. Like, no, it was that classic Coliseum.
People would come and they'd say, well, what's this monstrosity here? Well, I said, we call it Mount Davis for Mr. Davis, and he wanted suites for his football team, which is fine. But it changed the whole complexion of the stadium in terms of a baseball venue.
A crazy time because, like, going to games then, you're literally watching a game and Mount Davis is being built. You know what I mean? And so, like, slowly but surely, you just see the Oakland Hills just disappearing because Mount Davis is being erected.
I feel like there was a point in the 90s where, before the Raiders moved back, the Coliseum was something that could have stayed forever. Once they built Mount Davis, they honestly ruined the stadium.
Oakland did the opposite. They actually made their stadium worse to accommodate the Raiders. So now we have this Frankenstein stadium that's even worse than it was, when it was built almost 60 years ago. Wish Oakland had figured out a way to put a small, intimate baseball stadium on the water downtown Oakland. That's been my dream for this team for the last 20 years, and it's so sad it didn't happen. Baseball, you always have a chance, and that's what I love about the sport the most, is that there's a lot of factors that can't be measured, and the A's have gotten so close so many times, despite being close to the lowest salary team in baseball. And the difference would have been, to me at least, having a better home field to play in.
Look ought to be your middle name. Oh yeah.
Moneyball was amazing. I mean, we've seen the movie, we read the book, but they were basically redefining how we should measure players. We shouldn't just look at the good face. We shouldn't just look at batting average. We should look at on-base percentage. We were 10 years ahead of the league as far as how we approached the game.
My impression of it was like a magical time. It was like we'd come back from the dead after losing McGuire and losing all of our players. I feel like we always had teams that fought hard, and Miguel Tejada and Eric Chavez and Giambi before he left, and all those guys.
I remember getting mad though, because you go up to a game and the game would be over in an hour and a half, because you had Hudson Mulder or Zito in a pissing contest, seeing who could basically complete the game in the fastest amount of time. And so you'd go to a game and the game was over the minute it started because of how they pitched.
We had the best combo going between Zito, Mulder, and Hudson. We pretty much didn't need a fourth starter or relievers. The guys were going long, they were going deep, hit count was way down.
God, those teams were phenomenal. They were exciting,
There is not a single play in any sports that matches a high-flying home run ball at a critical point in front of 58,000 people like we can fill that Oakland A's stadium with.
I went to 3 games, I believe, 3 or 4 games during the streak, and obviously we didn't know it was going to be a streak until it became one. So I definitely went to the Hatteberg game, which was the last game on a homestand, and it was number 20. At the time, no one had ever won more than 20.
It was in the media, obviously, that we were winning a ton of games in a row, and I was definitely paying close attention to it. And at the time, my uncle scored some tickets, first baseline, maybe about 15 seats back against the Royals. It was packed. This is history right here. This is the 20th game in a row.
Drums were rocking. Only A's fans bring drums to the game. And between the left and right field with their rhythms going on, it was tribal, it was emotional. It was the whole town coming together.
The A's had a 10-run lead, and they gave it up, and Kansas City came back and tied it. And then Scott Hatteberg hit that game-winning home run. That was amazing, and it was a packed house.
I still remember to this day Hatteberg hitting the home run and being on the first baseline. It just, you see the ball just go like this, and we just lost it. It was definitely one of the coolest baseball experiences of my life. I played 2 years of Little League in Oakland, and we played that, throughout the summer, actually. My name's Julian Wallace. I've been an A's fan for almost 30 years now. My dad's a lifelong fan. His parents are both, especially my grandmother, lifelong fans. So that just got passed down from me living in the East Bay.
Those teams could have been, at least one of them could have went to the World Series. I really thought that we had a potential. That felt like at that time, we were still trying.
And, it was great at the start, but it really was masking a lot of things behind the scenes. It's the most frustrating thing about being an A's fan, having to see these phenomenal teams get built up and then just never any money invested in retaining those players or going out and acquiring free agents and stuff like that.
So those trades of Mulder and Hudson especially, that was just the next domino of what you could see was happening in terms of lack of signing players. It sort of started, in my mind, with trading McGuire And then it continued with failing to re-sign Giambi. And then we didn't even attempt to re-sign Tejada.
So the A's have classically always had cheap managers, right? In Moneyball, they make fun of the fact that you got to pay for your own sodas, right? That's always been a thing in Oakland. And my question is why? Now this is a billion-dollar industry. You know, back in the 70s, you could buy the A's for $20 million. Today, the A's are worth $2 billion. So why are we still treating this company like it's this small little thing when it's a billion-dollar proposition?
I got to throw out the first pitch. I got to get on the mound with a Major League Baseball in my hand. That blew me away. And I walked out on the mound, and yes, I had to go out there in my full Oakland A's mayor outfit. When I towed the rubber, I didn't think it was going to hit me like it did. I'm like, I am standing where Raleigh Fingers, Vita Blue, Barry Zito, Mulder, Hudson, Eckersley. It just ran through the timeline. I did lean in and I did shake off my first pitch. In comedy, they teach you if it's funny once, it's funny twice. So I leaned in and I shook off the second pitch. I'm glad to say I got it low inside. It wasn't a strike, but it made it to the catcher. My name's Todd Schwenk. I've been an A's fan since 1972. Live in Oakland. I grew up in small town Pennsylvania, and to go to the Phillies games, who were the new team in Philadelphia, we would pass by an empty Connie Mack Stadium that the A's had left in '58 to go to Kansas City. And as a youngster, I'm like, why did the A's leave Philadelphia? What did we do wrong? So it was like maybe one of my first experiences with separation anxiety.
One thing I think that a lot of baseball fans probably have in common is an early introduction to the game and a love of the sport. And I'm no different. I grew up playing baseball, and one of the things that I always wished for when I was in Little League was to be on the Oakland A's team. I really model a lot of my game off of the big three of the Oakland A's, Barry Zito, Mark Mulder, and Tim Hudson. You learn that it's not only a physical game of where you can throw the ball in your control, but it's also a mental game. And a mental game battling the batter, battling yourself, and it really teaches you resilience in a way that school or other activities might not.
The 2012 season, where the A's were 4 games back with 4 games to play, and I went to each one of those games, the last 4 games of the year. That was one of my greatest memories as an A's fan.
It was an unpredictable year, 2012, in that nobody, Sports Illustrated or others, thought the A's would have longevity, and we're deep in the season. 2 absolutely favorite A's games, game 162 of 2012. We won like 20 out of the last 24. We were only in first place for 1 game that year. It was the last game.
I was there as a fan, and I had to, beg, borrow, and steal to get a ticket because it was a game I didn't want to miss. It was the game 162 of the 2012 season, and a lot of people have talked about that as in terms of their memories, but this one for me was the real deal.
Last game, when they hit the fly ball out to Josh Hamilton and he missed it in center field,
Josh Hamilton dropped a routine fly ball when we were down 5-0, and we thought we were going to have to settle for the wild card. Instead, it turned into a rock concert.
And I mean, I found myself running up and down an aisle in the cross aisle, high-fiving people, complete strangers that I didn't know. The A's won game 162 and won the West.
And I seen that, I was like, that's it, dude. And so we rebranded to that. And when we launched that, it just went nuts, right? It's like teamwork or something like that to create this culture and to create this environment in the stadium, on social media. Like, it's about your experiences, your time at the Coliseum, your time with family. And so we try to put out products and messaging and imagery that basically you see a reflection of your fandom. We've donated over $250,000 back into the community, into players, charitable organizations and stuff like that. And so we've really made an impact. My name is Brian Johansson. I've been an A's fan for 40 years. There's nothing else in my life outside of my son and my wife that has given me the type of fulfillment that being a fan at the Oakland Coliseum and of the Oakland A's has ever given me in life. There's nothing.
We all feel like underdogs. In my opinion, A's fans, we've continually felt like underdogs. And I think that the players grasp that as they're coming up. Like I said, we don't carry many top prospects. Everybody that's here is fighting to be here. They feel the same feelings that we have. They felt the same passion that we have. And it's just, I don't think there's a culture like that. You know, again, it's fandom, but it's also part of a connection, a bond that's built with these players that I have no idea if it exists anywhere else. I like to think that it's fairly unique. Call me silly, but I think like the Coliseum creates this. The Coliseum is the hub that brought everybody together.
And one thing as an A's fan that you'll hear all the time is that the A's are the farm market for the rest of the major league teams. We've traded most of our best players to other teams, so much so that Oakland A's fans have created custom jerseys of their own that say TBD on the player name.
They were so good. The energy in the stadium was like off the chain. You had 20, 30,000 people there every single night. Then you would just bang your head against the wall because they would let everybody walk. You know, they would trade everybody. That's when I really started like having a resentment towards ownership and understanding that this isn't just a game that we grew up loving. This is a business, and the business side of it is ugly. And the business side of it doesn't care about how much you love that team.
You know, there's an old saying, you got to spend money to make money. If you don't invest in the team and you don't re-sign any players, you're not going to get the average fan to go to games or to follow a team.
First off, Fisher's a terrible, terrible owner, right? He's cheap. He's plummeted the bankroll, got rid of all the good players. He's trying to make the team look as bad as possible, so the worst team in the league, so that the number one team to be eligible to move somewhere else.
And a lot of people, I think nationally, or just baseball fans, they seem to think that the A's fans are to blame. I think the narrative is out there a little bit like fans didn't support the team. That is so not true. You're kind of blaming the victims here because it's not the fans. We stopped showing up because we felt the ownership was against us.
There really is a common denominator in all these failures, and the common denominator is the A's ownership. You can put some blame on the cities, generally speaking, but there's only really one guy that's failed everywhere, and that's John Fisher.
I was totally with the sentiment that Fisher should sell the team, and it's criminal what he's allowed to have happen to the team in the last 20 years. And there's no loyalty to the fans that have been loyal to the teams. And it's just really sad.
He's never known want. He has all the money that he can have. Why would you hurt us like this when you don't need to? You could sell the team and still have all the money, no one gets hurt.
NBA and NHL indoors, that makes sense. For baseball, it makes 0 sense. Who among us thinks when they think baseball thinks Las Vegas?
And the fact that they're still going on with this when there's no financing, there's no funding, and all the while you have a long line of billionaire ownership groups that want to keep them in the Bay. And the fact that none of the things John Fisher is offering in Las Vegas, he ever offered to Oakland.
Las Vegas has 3,500 different experiences. And what are they doing? They're buying a 3,501 experience. I think it's important to understand that it used to be illegal for the city of Vegas to have a professional team. It was also illegal to gamble on UNLV. For obvious reasons, people were concerned that the city would use its influence to, basically have another Black Sox scandal. And that all went away once gambling became more ubiquitous to the whole country. Now that you can gamble online, people realize, oh, we can have a team in Vegas. The first team was hockey. Second team was NFL. Every Major League Baseball team that wasn't New York or Chicago or, your major teams wanted that spot. They wanted to get into Vegas.
We'll be arriving at 10:28 a.m.
There's a level of creativeness within the fan base that you don't see in baseball. No fan base has ever had to throw their own fans fest. And have over 20,000 people there, 70 vendors, 7 ex-Oakland A's players. What fans said that they've been able to do that?
chronicles of mama outside the handle now. That game, you took that. I can use more than
that. Beautiful. When we chant at the ballpark, we say, "Let's go Oakland." We don't say, "Let's go Athletics." So we're loyal to the town. We're loyal to the team.
Look at this, 10,000 people out here giving to the community, showing up or voice boycotts, and just always represent the green and gold. You can't go anywhere without seeing a big old A's. Not because it's the best grade you can get in life, but it's also just to represent the highest quality. So we're scrappy, we're here, and we ain't going nowhere, no matter where you play.
But the fact is, we become family.
Yes. Grandkids, deaths,
Absolutely.
and everything, all because we all met at the A's game over 30-some years ago.
Yep.
It's a game that's passed down through family, right? It's something that I passed on to my son, and taking him to the game and sitting in the same seats that I sat in and bringing my son to that and just thinking, wow, I was here with my dad and my dad was here with his dad and my uncles were here, my aunts were here. And so it's something that's just part of you, you have your family, you have your job, and then you have the A's.
And we really got to, show that, hey, we're still here. And, if you support us, we will support you.
The fan groups represent a voice. The Last Dive Bar, Oakland 68. You know what I mean? We recently had this Fans Fest thing. We had Coco Chris, Grant Balfour, Ben Grieve, Mike Norris, all these guys. Those are great examples of the players. They understand what we're representing, what we're trying to bring together. We're all trying to say, please, sell our team. give us our team back. Let us enjoy what we know, what we love, what we have a passion for.
We're still planning on doing protests this year. It shows that we're still here and that we still care and that we still want a baseball team over here. And it's just really disappointing that Major League Baseball would walk away, burn all this down, just to protect one man.
So I've had this hat for about 5 years. I was looking through Etsy and I saw this upside down A's hat and I thought that's actually a good metaphor for where we are today. So whenever I wear this hat out in the wild, people ask me about it. I'm like, well, I just feel like the A's are under duress. And when you're under duress as a country, you hang your flag upside down, right? So the A's are under duress. They're basically, in a bad situation, and I'm gonna wear this hat until they aren't anymore. And then when they aren't anymore, I'll switch back to the upright A's hat.
It's this particular team where you start out as a toddler or a young kid going to a baseball game, and then eventually you become an adult and you start bringing your children. You have children, you start bringing your children. Then you start going to games with your grandkids and your grandparents. So it becomes a real family atmosphere.
A's fans have been battered and bruised over the last 20 years. It's been a long and kind of winding road to get to the point where the team is ready to uproot itself and move to Las Vegas.
4/19, 4/20, for me, is a day that will live in infamy because that was the announcement, like, they're really serious. They're gonna leave. I was in a state of shock and denial and disbelief, and I was furious. I guess I went through all the stages. I don't even know what to say. To me, the insult and just the awfulness of it is to me unspeakable.
The A's have been everything to me. I've been an A's fan since I can remember. First going to games in 1968. It's a large part of my identity as being an A's fan. And it's just crushing to have that come to an end.
I don't know how to answer the future. And I'm scared of it, I guess, in a way. But I have to accept whatever it's going to be.
One of the hardest things about sports is that you don't have control over the thing that you treasure or love. In particular for A's fans, because there were so many opportunities for them to stay in Oakland. When you lose a team in a city, it's not just the fans that you're losing or the revenue. You're losing a part of the identity of that city. You think of the New York Yankees and their cap. That cap, that insignia, is known worldwide, not only just for the team, but for the city of New York itself. Or you think of the Los Angeles Dodgers with that LA logo. It's not just the team that it's representing, but it's a part of the city, it's a part of the culture. When you won't see that A's logo, that A's hat anymore, you'll lose a part of that identity of the Bay Area.
A lot of people, myself included, explain this entire process as like losing a loved one, right? And so when you lose a loved one, what do? You got to try to find that fulfillment, that fullness somewhere in life.
I don't see myself staying a fan, even though it's been my it's been in my blood for 56 years. It just breaks my heart that the A's are going to be leaving.
At any moment, I can feel pain like no other because it's potentially never going to be there again. But then you also feel this level of happiness because it's provided me so much over the course of my life, fulfillment that, nothing else in my life I've been able to have.
For me, everything about being an A's fan is the fandom, is the crowd, is the fans, is the people I meet and the family I make through that type of relationships.
Yeah, what it means to me is like the end, basically. It's the end of my fandom. I will not be following them out there in any way, shape, or form.
As far as watching baseball, I cannot support or organization, MLB, that allowed this to happen. Because I feel strongly this was an injustice. Franchises should not move unless there was no other option. So I can't support an organization that treats their fans that way. So I won't be watching baseball anymore. And I think I will miss that sense of community because I don't know where else you could go and meet so many different people and we have that one thing in common. But I just want the A's fans to know that it's not our fault. It's not our fault. It's just things above us, politics and money and all kind of things. I will always love the Oakland A's, and I know so many others will too, but it's what happened.
That's one of the things that was kind of unique about my working there is little did I know it would turn into a 21-year deal. 3 times Employee of the Month, including one of these jerseys, and I was pretty proud of earning this one on the next to last game this year. Please, I hope I don't break down, but 57 years of fandom for me is going away. The memories and the times there, the people that I've met.
As far as the last game, I don't know if I can bring myself to attend. It's like you said, it's kind of like a funeral feeling, and I don't know if going there is just going to help me emotional. I don't really want to break down in public, and I feel that I will because I've been following this team for more than 40 years, and to be there, to know this is the final time I'll have this joy that I share with the community. I don't think I'll be able to sit through it. So I might, from afar, try to monitor it, but I don't think I can be there just because it'll be too emotionally charged for me.
I was at the last game. I was at the last 10 games. I handed out over 500 yellow roses, which became my thing, about 10 years ago. And with each rose, it creates a memory and a smile. And I just love that part. And even though it was one of the toughest damn baseball weeks of my life, there was thousands and thousands of people together with us. And the closer we got to the end, the stronger we became as a community and the louder we voiced our love.
I guess for me, the word for the Oakland Athletics, love. That's the one. Yeah.
How many roads you were told to go on forever, and how many times you must lie to keep it together. It goes on, it goes on, it goes on. How many years roll on by, we learn from each other. How many chances do you get to fade or recover? It goes on, 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 it goes on.
The last game was really painful, really painful. I'm sorry. There were, there were random fans that were in tears, and they made me cry because it was the same thing that I was experiencing. So, and I'd grab them. No, I didn't know them. Didn't know from anybody, and grab them and hold them and say it's going to be okay, and it's going to be okay. You know, it's a majority of my life was spent being an A's fan, 50 plus years, from my childhood as a little leaguer all the way up until my adult years now, 70 years old. This ball club has been the only team I've ever rooted for. That green and gold is what I bleed. But the fact that we won it and sent 40,000 people home with a win. And they played the celebration song, which is we kind of got used to hearing, send everybody home happy on one final sad day.
Ain't nothing I can say, nothing I can do. I feel so bad, yeah. I feel so blue. I got to make it right for everyone concerned. Even if it's me, if it means it's me, what's getting burned? 'Cause I could never make you unhappy. No, I couldn't do that, girl. Only wish I didn't love you so. Makes it so, so very hard to go. So very hard to go. 'Cause I love you so. So very hard to go. I love you so. I knew the time would come. I'd have to pay for my mistake. I can't blame you for what you're doing to me, girl. Even though my heart aches. Your dreams have all come true, just the way you planned them. So I'll just step